thanks for joining me to color. Today we are going to be working on this adorable Magnolia image called Italian Speedy Tilda. Isn't she cute? I love her little scooter. I will put a link down in the description box to the card kit and all the supplies I used. I would love for you to come shopping with me. If you have a question, leave me a comment and I will get back to you. Otherwise, I have already stamped my image on Nina 80-pound Solar White cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So let's color. Alright, so we're going to start out by outlining our image. For that, we're going to use B000, B000, BG11, BG000, and our colorless blender. And I'm going to start with B000, and I'm just going to start down here underneath the bump for her scooter there. And I'm just going to go all the way around my girl back to the other side. Go up here around all this great little curls in her hair. And you could go as far out or as close as you want. And I'm going to go around all these swirls. And back down to the other side. And I do this first, so in case I get some on my girl and I want to erase it, I can do that before I color her. Okay, now I'm going to grab B000, and I'm just going to touch down on top of my B000, and I'm going to flick out away from that line. And again, you can go out as far as you want. I'm just giving a little bit of a shadow out here. And we're going to continue around up here onto the top. And back down the other side. And I'm not being very tidy. I'm going to go with my BG11 and I'm going to add some dots around the outside. So I'm just going to take my pen and dot it up and down. And I'm going to make sure to go out to away from here, out here into the background a little bit. And the faster you go, the smaller your dots will be. The slower you go, the bigger your dots are going to be. So you might want to practice on a little piece of scratch paper if you are worried about getting too many dots or they're going to be too fat or too small. I don't usually worry. I just dot around until I feel like I have enough dots and then I'm done. Okay, I like that. So now we're going to grab BG000 and we're going to do the same thing. So I'm just going to dot around the outside. Bring some out here. Get some up close. And work our way down to the bottom. And don't worry if they touch other dots either. Okay, I like that. And then I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm just going to scrub right over the top of all that color. This will help some of that blue I got on my girl too. I'll just erase it right off there. And this will help blend some of those dots and make them a little bit softer. Okay, that looks pretty good. But now I'm going to go along and go right on the B000 that I put down first and just swirl along the edge there a little bit. Soften it just a little bit more. For the road, I'm going to use W6, 4, 2, and 0. I'm going to start out with my W6, and let's go right underneath the tire And I'm just going to flick and add some lines right across like so. And then I'm going to grab W4. I'm going to do the same thing. And I'm going to go up a little bit past the tire here. And then let's go with W2. And again, we're going to do the same thing. And then W0. Let's just soften it all just a little bit. And then I'm going to go back with my W6 and just put a few more of those dark streaks back in. And then I left it just like that. Let's do our skin next. For that, we're going to use 11, 21, 00, and 000. For our cheeks, I'm going to use RO2, 12, and 11. I'm going to start with E11 down here on her hands. So let's go, I'm going to add a little dab here by her thumb. And then I'm just going to flick up from the bottom of her thumb around over here to these little dots. Same thing over here on this side. I'm going to go right over the top of her thumb and around that handlebar. And then I'm going to flick up from the bottom over here to the side. Then I'm going to go with E21. I'm going to touch it on top of my E11. And then I'm going to flick up towards the middle. And then we'll grab E00. Same thing, you touch down on top of your E21 and pull up. And then I'm going to take my E000 to go over the entire hand. Same for this side. And let's go up here and we will do her neck. So again, let's start with E11. And then E21. And then I'm going to fill that in with my E00. And for her face, I'm going to grab E11. And I'm going to go up here where her bangs are touching her cheek right here. And then I'm going to add a little dab of a line right next to her hair. And I'm going to work my way around over here to her neck. Like this. Then I'm going to do E21 next. And let's connect this to the other side. And then I want to flick away from my E11 and add some of this dark over here and along her hairline. And then I'm going to grab E00. And add a little bit of that. And then E000 to fill it in. And I'm not worried that it's not blended because I'm going to do cheeks and then I'm going to go over it with another coat. So I'm going to grab RO2. And then R12. And then a little bit of my R11 just to soften the edge. And I'm going to grab E00 and we're going to bring that out past the cheeks and along this bottom where I have a line and then back up here along this line on the top of her face. And then I'm going to go over the entire thing with my E000. And if you wanted to pink her cheeks up, you could. And then she's got a little bit of something over here. I'm going to call this her ear. I'm just going to give that a little bit of my E11, and there's a little bit right over here I'm going to dab. And I'm going to grab E21. And then I'm going to take my E00 just to go over the entire thing. For her hair, let's use E49, 44, 43, 42, and 50. I'm going to start with my E44. Let's start over here on this little bitty bit of hair that's coming out away from her face. I'm just going to give that a little dab of color. And then let's go in here and we're going to do this little swirl that's coming in close to her face. Try not to draw on her face. And then I want to bring this color out, away, out here like that. And then let's do her roots for this side over here. And I'm keeping my brush going in the direction that the hair is going, or the lines on the stamp are showing. And then I'm also going to do, as long as I'm up here, on this side, let's do a few of these little streaks on the other side of her headband. That looks good for that side. Let's hop over here. Okay, for this side, let's do right here where it's coming out away from her scarf. And there's a couple little dents in her scarf right here that I'm going to go ahead and do. And then we're going to do right along the edge of this bottom scarf. And then there's a little dip in right here, so I'm going to go ahead and do the dip in. And right here where it curls over at the end. And let's do in here. And then here's a little dip right here. And away from her scarf. And then let's go up here. And I want to do this little section right in here next to her face. And then let's just work our way up. Let's do right in here, right next to her face. And let's add a little bit right here where it dips back in. And here's a little dip right here. Okay, that looks pretty good. So let's go up here and let's finish a little bit up here by this other half on the top of her headband. And I'm going to draw a few little lines coming off of her headband. And then let's work on her part. And it dips right here, so I'm going to do a couple little streaks of hair coming down in that. And then over here where it's right next to her headband, I want to do a little bit right there. And then here's a little dip, so let's add a little dark in there. And right here. And then the end of this curly Q. And right here where it's coming out from behind this little curl part. Okay, I like that. So now let's add E43. Now I'm going to go ahead and fill in this little section right here. And I'm going to do the back side of this little curl. And then I just want to add some color right next to the last color. And we'll do up here above her headband. And we'll just work our way across. And then let's do these bangs. And here's some kind of weird curls right in here. So I'm just going to do a little bit in there. And just work my way. And there's a little curl right here. I'm going to go ahead and curl that. And then right here where it's coming up next to the scarf, I'm going to color that in. And just work our way down to the bottom. Then we're going to grab E42. We're going to come back over here on this side. I would just like to start over here again and add some more color. Same for up here above her headband. And then let's do over here on this side. Work our way back down to the bottom. And then we're going to take our E50 and we're going to fill in the rest of our white space. So I'm going to just go ahead and go up here and go across her hair. Fill it all the way in. You can also leave some white in there if you'd like. I can just never get that to look right. So I'm just going to fill mine all the way in. Go down here. And then I'm going to take my E49, which is my darkest color. I'm going to do that last because I didn't want to add too much. And I'm just going to go in, and if you don't use the E49 very much, you'll want to remove the other end so you don't get any blobs. But I just want to go in and add just a little bit where I want it to be the darkest. And I don't want to add too much. It's pretty dark. Maybe work my way just a little tiny line next to that hairband. And we're going to come down here. A little dab right there. A little bit in some of these little creases. I don't want it to be too dark because it is a really dark color. And I think that looks pretty good. Let's do the wheel on the scooter next. For that, we're going to use N10, 8, 6, 4, and 2. And I'm going to start with my N10. And I want to just go down the side of my tire. And I'm just doing a little dab of color. And then down here at the bottom, I'm going to go across. But where it kind of flattens out at the bottom, I'm going to drag that in just a little bit. Not too much. And then I'm going to add N8. And I just want to touch down on top of my N10 and bring it over just a bit. And then we're going to fill in this bottom section. That. And then we'll go with N6. Again, we'll just add a little bit more. And then we'll add N4. And then I'm going to fill it in with my N2. And I'm going to swipe that clear across. I got a little bit of a line here, so I'm going to go back across my N4 right here and soften that line. Now let's go up here and do the handlebars. For that, we're going to use N6, 4, and 2. I'm going to start with my N6. And let's just start over here on this side right here and add a little dab down here on the bottom of her hand. And then we're going to come over here and we're going to do the same thing on the bottom of the handlebar over here. And come across to this side and this bottom section of this handle. And then there's a couple of little lines on these handlebars that I'm just going to go down on the top. So like this. Then I'm going to go with N4 next. And we're just going to bring that up. And then I want to fill it in with my N2. And this I'm going to swipe right over that little line I drew there on the top of my handlebar. Same for this side. Like that. And then let's do the rim around the headlight here. For that, we're going to use N6, 4, 2, and 1. So I'm going to start with my N6. And let's do this little section right around here. And then I'm going to add in 4. And then my N2. And then we will finish it off with N1. And then for the light, we're going to use N1, N0, and our colorless blender. So I'm going to start with my N1. And I'm going to use this shade wherever these little lines are that are already on the headlight. And then I'm going to add a little bit of N0. Just to soften that edge just a little bit. And then I'm going to take my colorless blender and I'm just going to swoosh over the whole light and swirl it around in a circle. And then later I'm going to put some glossy accents on there to give it a shiny. For the scooter, let's use BG 49, 57, and 53, and then B00 and 000. And I'm going to start with my BG 49. And let's go ahead and do that right along the edge of my scooter on this side. And then I'm going to grab BG 57. And I want to soften that edge and bring it in just a little bit. Not too much, just a tiny bit. Same for this side. And then we're going to add BG 53. And again, we'll bring that in a bit. I'll bring this side in just a little bit more. And then I'm going to go with B00. And then my B000 to fill it the rest of the way in. And I got a little bit of my heart there, but I think that's going to be okay because we're going to color that red, so I'm just going to leave it on there. Then let's go with BG 49 again. Let's go up here and do these little sections up here. And then let's bring this color right along the edge of her hand and down to the bottom. And there's some little shadow dots there already, so I'm just kind of using those as my guide. And I'll bring this color down here, and then I'll bring it up here even with this line up here. And let's do the same thing on this side. Come down here, fill this in, and then bring it up kind of a little bit over here on this side. Then we're going to add BG 57. Same for this side. Then we'll add BG 53. Just a little bit more there and soften that edge just a little bit more. Then I'm going to add B00. I'm going to go ahead and fill this top section in. And we're going to come down here. And since this is such a light color, I like to swirl over the entire thing. And same with the B000. I'm just going to fill it in, and then I'm going to use it to go clear across the entire scooter. And just do a little bit up here on these. And then I noticed that I missed a little section on her arm, so I'm going to grab E21. And right here below her sleeve is a little bit of her arm showing, so let's color that in. Now let's do her headband and her scarf. For that we're going to use W1, 0, and 00. I'm going to start with my W1. And let's add a little bit on this side of her headband and a little bit on this side. And then for her scarf, I'm going to add some right along that bottom edge. And then a little bit in the knot there. And she's got a little tiny dab of her scarf showing right there at the bottom of her chin. A little bit like that. Next I'm going to go with W0. Pull a little bit further up here on her headband. Like that. Soften this. And then we're going to fill it in with our W00. Now let's do the red parts. For the heart, we're going to use our 24, 14, 22, and 21. I'm going to start with our 24. And let's do right along this edge. And that worked out perfect because it covered up that blue that I made a boo-boo on. And then I'm going to go with R14. And I'm just going to dab a little bit more color right on the edge of that 24. And then I'm going to go with R22. Same thing, we're going to dab a little bit here on this side. And then our R21 to fill it in and just swirl over the whole thing. And we're going to use these same colors up here for all these dots, so let's go up here and do those now. So we're going to start with R24. And then we're just going to add a little bit of color on each dot. And let's see, this side over here. There's a little bit of dot right here. That, and then we're going to add R14. So let's go ahead and do up here at the headband first. I'm going to color this little dinky dot in all the way. And then R22. I'm trying not to get it out here on our scarf. We don't want that red on there. Oh, I forgot. Let's do this one right here. Fill it the rest of the way in. And then we're going to use our R21 to fill them the rest of the way in. All right, so for the shirt, we're going to use our 24, 14, 22, 21, and 30. So I'm going to start with my R24. And let's go ahead and do this sleeve over here first. I'm just going to do a little dab right there in the center. And then same thing for this sleeve. Let's go right along the edge of this sleeve and the little cuff. I'm going to bring this out here underneath of her chin a little bit. And then I want to do this strap on her shirt. And I'm going to go ahead and bring this down along this line. Come down here onto the bodice of her shirt. And we'll bring that down here to the headlight. And we're going to do the same thing over here. Let's go ahead and go right down the edge of her shirt. And then bring this color down to the headlight. Next, we're going to use R14. So let's add a little tiny dab of this. I'm going to bring this underneath of the scarf. And then R22. And R21. I'll go ahead and fill this side in. And then we'll take our R30 to go over the entire shirt. And this will kind of push that color around because it's so light. So I'm going to kind of swirl it back towards the darkest color. This. And push that color back out. And lastly, I don't like how her eyes stamp, so I'm going to take my 100 pen and I'm just going to swirl right over the top of those eyes, and then later I'm going to add a little dot with my Sharpie white paint pen in this at the bottom. So there's our adorable Italian Speedy Tilda all colored up. Didn't she turn out cute? And then again, here is the finished card. So I have added some Stickle Stardust to all the little dots on her headband and her scarf and the little heart down here. I also used my Spica glitter pen in clear on her hair to add some little special sparkles in there. And then I used my Sharpie white paint pen on her cheeks and then in the little dots there on her eyes. And don't forget to shake that with the lid on so that it doesn't spray everywhere. So if you have a question, go ahead and leave me a comment. Otherwise, I hope you had fun coloring with me today, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.